Hello everyone, this is James Edward Radji IV with another video for you to consume. Num 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 nums. And what a tasty morsel we have for you today. You see, with the recent release of the Baldur's Gate 3 video game, there's been a lot of chatter about how you can have sex with a bear in the game. Because what else would we want as a talking point for the world's most present role-playing game? And that's most present role-playing game, not the world's greatest role-playing game. Because that's this. Okay? That's that. So, most present role-playing game. And I found the discussion, I don't care about the video game, but it is yet another example of whatever complaints people have about LOTFP, someone else is doing the same damn thing. You know, just a more boring version of it. I mean, a bear? Really? That's it? Amateurs. Pure amateurs. Because in Lamentations of the Flame Princess, there are so many more interesting things to have sex with. Well, even more interesting than that. So, here, I present to you the top 10 things you can have sex with in Lamentations of the Flame Princess. That's not a bear. Okay? Not a bear. And because of the nature of this video, I think we're going to have to do a content warning. So, here it is. This video is content rather than having anything of substance. As you can see, it's going to be formatted as a list, which means it will probably decrease your understanding of a topic rather than broaden it. So, now that we've gotten the disclaimer out of the way, here comes the mind sugar. Coming in, number 10. For the things that you can have sex with in Lamentations of the Flame Princess that's not a bear, your dad. Really? I mean, in Curse of the Daughter Brides, rules for a Daughter Bride character class are given. And you get a number of genuinely cool special abilities, but whenever you use any of the abilities, you immediately have to give credit and thanks to dear old dad, or else you lose those abilities until you confess your lack of gratitude to your father. And once you're face to face with your father, well, he's going to want to try to make a son with you. You know? Not that that's going to work. I mean, we all know you'll just have another daughter anyway. That's kind of how it goes. But before you get all judgy about this, I want you to take a look at the old coot. We'll put him right there. You'd never know that guy was 95 years old. I mean, doesn't look a day over 89. And if you're that damn concerned about it, then maybe you should have given him the respect that he's due in the first place. You ungrateful fuck. And number 9 in our countdown that I can't believe Wizards of the Coast hasn't done for their game to take advantage of the Baldur's Gate publicity. It's a crystal. In the Doom Cave of the Crystal-Headed Children, the inciting event is the wizard Wiki.pod sticking his pickle in a crystal, and the sci-fi computer figuring out how to make little child clones from the resulting genetic material. And, oh, come on. Stop that. Nope. Stop looking at me like you've never stuck yours in random geological formations. I won't have it. Okay? I will not have it. You know, but the point is that the crystal is still there at the beginning of the adventure. And the hole is still there. And, yeah, the hole's a bit crusty, granted. No, shut up. Shut up. No, look. I find it very unverisimilitudinous how clean and tidy villains' lairs too often are. So, yes, it's crusty. Deal with it, okay? And the point is, you can make your own freakish abominations just like wiki.pod did, because RPG plots where NPCs can do things that the PCs can't just because, it's bullshit, you know? And the Doom Cave of the Crystal-Headed Children, that was our contribution to Free RPG Day in 2014. It went out to actual stores. And, well, it was a success as far as, you know, gaining more interest in fans and increasing retail sales of Lamentations of the Flame Princess, which is what Free RPG Day is expressly for. But in the public consciousness, we weren't able to replace storks with "a wizard fucks a crystal" as the standard answer when little kids first ask their parents where babies come from. So, not an overwhelming success. Oh well. Number 8 in our list of things that you can have sex with in LOTFP that is not a bear. Well, a book. See, this book is incredibly versatile. It's a game supplement. It's a book about real magic in gaming. It's got game philosophy in it. But it's also an in-game artifact that players can find in the game. And the hole here, the hole, you know, hello? The hole, You can pass items through the hole once your characters find the in-game artifact. You can pass the items from the real world to the characters in the game. So my little auto cue remote control, I could pass that to my player, you know, to the character I'm playing. And I'm sure they'd find that very useful. And has anyone out there actually deciphered the runes that are in the book? I mean, all that stuff, those passages in there, it's not decoration. It's not atmosphere. It's actual content. It's actual more stuff for you. And I don't know, since it's been a couple years since the book came out, maybe I can reveal one part of the knowledge that's contained in the runes. This hole in the cover of the book, yeah, it is a glory hole. I mean, swear to God, this book is literally intended to have wieners stuck through its cover. So, I guess there's nothing else to say about that other than get help, Job. Get help. Lucky number 7. Deep Ones. Now, this one is going to thoroughly spoil fish fuckers, but spoiled fish really is the best fish to fuck, you know. So, in the adventure, there's this little sleepy town of Innsmouth in Devon, England. And anyone who knows anything will think they know where that's going. But turns out the humans are some sick bastards. And they like fucking the deep ones that they've enslaved. And, hell, we put it right on the cover of the book, you know, and no, the deep ones are not happy about it. And of course, this is role-playing. And while we may assume that player characters will be against the bad guys, and all of the narrative language in the adventure disapproves of what the humans are doing here. We also have to assume agency, and that player characters may decide to side with humans against inhuman monsters. I mean, it's not like the deep ones are at all friendlier than they'd be in normal circumstances, so I use the word monster there decidedly. And there is in the adventure incentive to... Anyway, let me read that bit. Effects of fish fucking. A character engaging in sex with a deep one gains 2d4 temporary hit points, and a general high that both last for 24 hours. There is a chance of addiction. The character should save versus magic, or they will become addicted and will do whatever it takes to participate again. If the character goes cold turkey, they can try to save again the next day. A character with a womb can become pregnant by a male deep one. So, yeah, but I will remind you that being good, being a good person, or playing a character as good, isn't a meaningful thing unless one has the opportunity to be evil. That's what makes good good, because evil is right there and you choose not to be that. Unless you do. So that's how that works. And who are you to judge, anyway? I mean, how did you treat the last fish that you came across? I mean, me? I paid someone, a complete stranger, to bring me a heated up, mutilated fish carcass to consume. That's how much I care about fish, but it was yummy. It was very yummy. Numero cursi. Your weapon. No, I'm not talking about the death phallus or the cunt whip. The death fuck magic items from Towers 2. Because you don't fuck those, you make other people fuck them. Or, more accurately, you make them fuck other people. Now, what I am talking about is the worm from the armory in the monolith from beyond space and time. And while I may be stretching the definition of having sex with this entry, the fact is that the worm is a weapon to be wielded by a character, and that character is also the weapon's sheath. I mean, the book says most convenient orifice, but the thing is a worm. It doesn't jump, it doesn't fly, it just crawls on the ground. So what do you think the most convenient orifice is going to be? And if something in that most convenient orifice is, just wiggling around in there and just waiting for you to command it to go crawl into someone else's most convenient orifice, if that's not sexual, I don't know what is, And Monolith also features the hedonist commune where everyone is hyper fertile and babies come to term quickly, and so then the babies, once they're born, are taken straight from the womb right to the cook fires. So, I don't know. Maybe hippies could have been in this spot instead. But I only bring that up so I can recount for you the disclaimer that I put on that section. Play this up to, but not beyond, the point of player discomfort. And what can I say about that? I mean, I was young and naive when I wrote that, but not beyond. I mean, talk about not having any confidence in the material, right? Number 5! Well, are we halfway through already? Okay, well, I guess don't worry, everyone. That uncomfortableness in your gut, that tingling in your groin, it's almost over. Bear with me. So, number 5, the love slug. Or the love slug. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Okay. A slug is just a giant slug. And for those of you that don't live in Europe, just to let you know that the umlaut, what that means when it's in a word, it just means a big version of the word. That's what it is, so you've learned something here. And the love slug has a particularly special power. It grants temporary bonus experience levels. But to gain those levels, you have to sexually satisfy the love slug. And that's not as easy as it seems. I mean, you'd think, oh, a giant slug? That's very easy to sexually satisfy. But it's not, you see. And the main reason why, it's constantly surrounded by suitors that are looking for that quick power-up. And, you know, you gotta crawl into the orifice, and there's only limited space, and lots of people that want in there, and this thing is just constantly having people crawl up in it, and so it's tired. So you get in there, and it's a full body thing to stimulate it, and it takes a lot of work to get it off again, because all it wants to do is rest, right? So it's quite an enterprise. It's not an automatic thing. And oh, wait. You're looking at me like that again. Like I'm saying something I shouldn't be. No. What? It's gross because it's slimy? Yeah. Holy shit, no wonder you prudes are repulsed by anything sexual. Okay, look. I'm sorry that I'm the one to have to tell you this, but you're not ever supposed to go in dry, okay? It's supposed to be slimy. Every time, okay? So now that you know that, go try it again, and I bet your opinion on this whole sex thing improves quite a bit. Fucking hell. Okay. Anyway. Anyway, the love slug was supposed to just be a little cute thing in text format in the book. I mean, Kelvin drew a picture, but his art's highly stylized, so the opening and everything is fine. It was fun. You know, cute. But then I decided for the inside covers, I wanted some cool stuff there, so I commissioned some extra art. And the one artist did this. This is gonna get me into trouble, I thought. This would be a bad idea to actually put into the book, I also thought. It's in the book. Once again, this is a free RPG Day book that's being put out for people in hundreds of stores. Well, and I wonder why I couldn't keep participating in free RPG Day. Even though these free RPG Day releases keep growing the popularity of the game through the entire time. You know, the entire time that I was participating in free RPG Day, retail sales kept increasing, which, I repeat, was the entire point of free RPG Day, to put out samples so then people then buy more product, you know, from the system that the free RPG Day book is giving you a taste of from the store. And we did that. Retail sales kept going up. And that's even with lots of participating stores just throwing my books in the trash instead of letting other people have them. And so, even with all that, we were fulfilling the purpose, and everyone was making more money. Stores were selling more, so they were making more money off our stuff. The greater sales means we made more money on the stuff, and all the authors got their royalty, you know. But no, couldn't participate anymore after a certain point. And all I have to say about that, it's almost like the stories that people tell each other and themselves about what people want are complete lies. So that's the lesson there. 4. A Minotaur. So, do you know the story of the Minotaur? The actual Greek myth Minotaur? Well, Asterion here recontextualizes the Minotaur story, so when the king sends the young victims into the maze to be eaten, the Minotaur has a different kind of hunger that he wants to satisfy. You know, because Minotaurs are half bull. Horns, so they're horny. You get it yet? An aggressively horny Minotaur. That's what we're talking about. And so, you know, and then the maze is also full of the Minotaur's offspring, who you also really don't want to meet in the maze. You don't. And so is that all crass? Tasteless? Sure, but I offer 2 responses. Have you ever fucking read the story of the Minotaur? Have you? The original myth? Because the original Minotaur was conceived as a being, like conceived. Reproduction, not who thought of it, but the conception of the Minotaur in the myth was because the king's wife wanted to fuck a bull so badly that she had a wooden cow constructed so she could be inside the wooden cow. And so when the bull started fucking this wooden cow, it would instead be actually fucking her. So this woman that wanted to fuck a bull, and a bull that was willing to fuck a wooden cow, splinters be damned, that's the actual story. So you got nothing to say to me if you accept the idea of the Minotaur in the first place, yet but you think that somebody's adapting it in a way that's just too icky for you. I mean, ickiness is built into the very core of the concept. And while there may be some sorts of setups that you don't want to play in RPGs, you don't get to dictate to anyone else what they're allowed to do in RPGs. Never. You know, and that's a universal statement about any damn thing in RPGs. I mean, all the shit that I hate and don't want to see and don't want anybody to do, it's not even right to say that other people are allowed to do that stuff that I hate, because I have no authority to stop them, and I want to dismantle any mechanism that could give anybody that authority to stop someone from publishing something they don't like. So even saying allowed is just like evil in this context. I'm not allowing it. You know, people get to imagine the way they want to imagine, and you can be okay with it, or you can cry, but people shouldn't have to care or even acknowledge anything or anybody that's not at their game table when it comes to what they play. And oh yeah, in the original Greek stories, it was kids that are being thrown into the Minotaur maze. So that makes Asterion creepier, doesn't it? Moo. Summon the amphibious ones. This 11-hour ritual can be completed only on a fog-shrouded night. The sorcerer must obtain the root of potency found only in ruined apothecaries of the Snake Men. The sacrifice is a virgin white girl 11 years old with long hair. The sorcerer, after partaking of the root, must engage in sexual congress with the sacrifice 11 times, afterwards strangling her with her own hair. As her life leaves her body, 10 to 100 of the amphibious ones will coalesce out of the mists. Now, I had a few smart-ass things I was planning to say here, just to break the tension there, because holy shit, right? But instead I'll be serious. We're right on the 15-year mark of the original pre-LOTFP release of Carcosa, and the backlash to this was rabid. And as for artistic justification, not that it's needed for something like what I just read, I'll simply quote Lovecraft and ask you how you think this would actually manifest, okay? The time would be easy to know, for then mankind would have become as the great old ones, free and wild and beyond good and evil, with laws and morals thrown aside and all men shouting and killing and reveling in joy. Yeah, and I also have a story about Carcosa and the controversy, and I know I've talked about it before on this channel, but I don't remember if I've told this story, and if I had, well, deal with hearing it again, because on my first date with the woman that became my second wife, I just went full-on Raggy, complaining to her about the backlash that Carcosa received, which meant this woman had no idea about role-playing. I had to explain role-playing. I had to then explain what the OSR is. And then I had to explain what Carcosa was and what exactly was making people nuts and why I disagreed with them. It's just what you want to hear on a first date, right? But my point that I was complaining about is I couldn't comprehend why people would be so angry about a fictional thing, even the thing I just read. And that relationship ended up lasting 9 years, which is the longest relationship I've had in my life. And I associate that relationship with the first date and what we talked about in Carcosa. So, to me, there's a power and a connection between the work and my actual real life. And a lot of these things, they're tied. They're not just my. This isn't just a job that I do and then I forget about. It's everything I publish is intertwined in my life, and so like Carcosa, in the passage I just read, because of the personal connection it has with my life. For that type of material, I won't avoid it. I won't hide it. I won't hope people don't notice it. And I'm certainly never going to apologize for it. And even more, when I decided that LOTFP was going to be a proper publisher and not just be for my own projects, the LOTFP reprint of Carcosa, that was the first deal made, the first one announced. Announcement back in 2010, released in 2011. And I'll also just note that disgust is a valid goal of creative work. And if you're going to act like a child about it, then maybe you should be treated like one. 11 times. Whew. Number two. We're almost done. Number 2. Pygmies. Yeah, pygmies. And this one's a whole thing. Yeah, it's from Blood in the Chocolate. It's an out-of-print Gold Annie winning adventure that has been completely disavowed by its stunning and brave creator. I mean, okay, setup. There's this South American indigenous tribe that's corrupted by a magic cocoa tree, which stunts their development both mentally and physically. And then there's this colonialist entrepreneur who sees the money in this magic cocoa tree. So she uproots the tree and forcibly relocates the tribe to work for her. To help manufacture the chocolate and get rich off of European elites who would buy it. And she's the one that calls them pygmies because she doesn't give a shit about who they actually were. And from her point of view, that's what you call short brown people. The explicit point was having historically based nastiness in there. Because this was the villain. And to me, there's something truly off about intentionally showing colonialism as cruel, exploitative, and oppressive, and still after the fact apologizing to who I don't know, but still apologizing for having committed a colonialism in the writing. The state of the fucking world, right? Oh, and this whole thing was a Willy Wonka parody, by the way. So the pygmies were the Oompa Loompa stand-ins. So, and then, to bring it back to relevancy to this list, a player character, or NPC or anybody, might blow up like a great big blueberry. And then the pygmies might take that character away and have a big berry orgy with the blown up blueberry character. Yeah. We lost an editor over that one, and it caused a big hullabaloo a few years later, as Wikipedia says about it. In 2020, Massive Press withdrew its RPG Lancer from the Any Award competition over a 2017 controversy, where a game module for the Lamentations of the Flame Princess system titled Blood in the Chocolate received a gold award in the adventure category, despite being widely described as offensive, particularly icky, and simply ridiculous by press, industry members, and the publisher itself. Now, a Willy Wonka parody where a Portuguese chocolatier was manufacturing magic cocoa in a Netherlands factory, and sometimes the chocolate turned people into cannibals. I call that ridiculous. Because it is. And wonderfully so. And once again, I'm sure I've said this before in the channel, but offensive doesn't actually mean anything beyond I don't like this. And particularly icky. I mean, as opposed to what? Unparticularly icky? I mean, does any actual real person give a fuck about any of this? And somehow, the public still voted us a gold Any, despite it being labeled offensive, particularly icky, and simply ridiculous by insiders. Because, it's actually pretty funny what the public does when the gatekeepers forget to close the door behind them, don't you think? So, anyway. I'd rather be me and publish things like this, and everything on this list actually, than be any of these other people who piss themselves about it. And climaxing as the number one thing you can have sex with in Lamentations of the Flame Princess that's not a bear. Absolutely anybody and anything if you're a magic user. I mean, just for a minute, stop thinking of the game as a game. And I mean any game that uses a similar spell list as LOTFP. Other OSR games, Dungeons and Dragons of any era, just imagine if the game world was real. Or if game magic was a real thing in our world. So in our world or any of these game worlds, as long as the psychological realities are anywhere close to ours, what do you think the most common use of the charm person spell would be? Yeah. I mean, not all magic users, of course. I mean, if one commits enough effort to get a few levels on them, that's a clear sign that magic user is interested in more than simple pleasures of the flesh. But you don't need to get a few levels on you to learn Charm Person, do you? No. First level spell. So, what kind of person would be attracted to magic given that fact? And what do you think the general public's view of magic and magic users would be in light of all this? Yeah, right? And that's not even considering any of the non-sexual, disruptive, and violating uses a Charm Person spell can have, and how it can ruin and disrupt life on any and every level, leaving a victim feeling utterly violated and having done things that have ruined their lives, and that's even if they never take their pants off. So, think about how Charm Person is used most often in your games. I mean, I know in my games, it's usually used to control an enemy and make them betray their allegiances, their brothers in arms, their friends. And you know this is abjectly cruel and just the worst thing you can do to someone. And you can tell because of how players react when their characters are charmed. I mean, if you hit a player character with a sword, roll the damage, fine, business as usual. Poison them? Oh, stakes are a little higher, roll that saving throw, but they understand it's part of the game. Charm them? They go out of their minds. Because that's got to be fixed at once. And they will seek in character to subvert the charm in ways that if the referee did it with an NPC that a player magic user had charmed, the player would be pissed and call that cheating against the spirit of the spell. But the player will do that anyway when it's their character being charmed, because it is the most intolerable thing that can happen in the game. So, just let that settle in a bit. So, and even if everything I've talked about here about Charm Person is far beyond your comfort level to actually use at your table, and that is perfectly fine, you play the way you want to, you can still use all this as an unspoken, unmentioned background atmosphere that helps determine how magic is seen and how magic users are treated in your campaign world. And frankly, maybe how you should think of anyone at your table who wants to play a magic user, frankly. I mean, there is no such thing as a good use of magic, nor is there such a thing as a good magic user. And there you go. I mean, I thought this would all be a bit more lighthearted when I started, and I'm actually a bit worried about highlighting stuff from the game that's just in a minority of our releases when everyone's just going to assume that's what the whole game's about. But the fact is, I quite happen to like the things I publish. Even when they're offensive, or particularly icky, or simply ridiculous. Maybe even especially when they are. I mean, people like to say that their shit is horror, or dark, or gritty. Right up to the point where someone authentically feels it, and then everyone acts like someone's done something wrong. Idiots. Idiots. I mean, if you say that you're dark, but you have no interest in hitting people where they live, or that you say you like dark stuff, but you hate it when someone hits you where you live, you're not dark. You're just fucking dim. So get out of my face with your weak shit and your weak will. Just fucking go. Okay, I wasn't going to do an after credits thing on this one because it ended kind of intense. I don't want to undercut it with a joke, but something just happened today. The video's still being edited, and something happened today. I was playing in a game, Jeff Rientz's game online. Everybody except one person involved in the game either is or has been involved in LOTFP. And I'm a player, and it's nice to be able to play, except we found something that apparently you're not allowed to have sex with in LOTFP because we're using the LOTFP rules, even though somebody's a halfling, somebody's a goblin, somebody's an ogre, and Jeff's running like old Judges Guild and White Dwarf Adventures from way back when that I don't know any. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So anyway, I got a character, I'm playing a fighter, and so yeah. So we're in this pyramid that apparently it's like a huge TARDIS. It travels dimensions and time travels and everything. It even has a big lit up thing on top, except it's on like a schedule, a timetable. So we've got X amount of hours in there before it shifts. So we get it there. Anyway. So we get our halfling running through the Jeffries tubes and then finds this hole that's basically looking into the time vortex. I'm just using Doctor Who terminology. Anyway. Looking through the time vortex, looking at the Big Bang, looking at the beginning of the universe. And it's like, I have an idea because my character is a fighter, just a plain fighter that in one of the first adventures we did, I think it was some Tizun Thane, we went through that old adventure and I ended up with necromancer armor, so I've been basically a fighter pretending to be a necromancer, and every time we meet a monster, I'm like, I'm the necromancer. Sega Thane, I think, was the one I killed and took the I don't know. Anyway, the point is, I'm trying to ally and negotiate with every monster so we don't have to fight anything. So if you don't fight anything, your characters don't die. So, and then in this pyramid, I got hit with an acid trap, and there goes my armor. So I got to take the +3 sword from my henchman. Yes, I gave a +3 sword to my henchman because I had a +1 sickle, and I thought the sickle looked better with the necromancer armor, even though it's only +1, and I gave the +3. So anyway. So now, I don't have a persona for my character since I'm not pretending to be this necromancer anymore, and I missed a week in the game, while everyone else was in the pyramid, so Jeff had off the cuff said, oh, you got sucked into the time stream and lived sometime in the 20th century, and so I've got 20th century knowledge. So anyway, this is all important. So we're looking, you can look through the to the Big Bang, right? And then what happens? The halfling throws a sausage down there, and it creates some change with time and space. So it changes the universe. And Jeff rolls the die and says, "Okay, you can either everyone have one thing bad that's happened to your character reverse itself, or gain a level." And it's like the worst thing that's happened to my character is losing the friggin' armor, but cool as it was still just normal plate mail, so I just took the level anyway. But it's like, okay, we can affect the universe by the dawn of time, and my character lived in the 20th century, so knows about, like, genetics and genes and DNA and stuff. So it's like, I know what I'm gonna do with the universe, and I wasn't weird about it. I wasn't weird at all about it. It's like, okay, my character just kind of goes into the other room privately, and then comes back with a vial full, and like everyone just starts freaking out. Because like, no, pour this in the beginning of the universe. I like, that one episode of Community is like, I've won Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, I was going to win Dungeons and Dragons. I was going to win LOTFP. I was going to win all of role-playing games. Because my character was going to be the father of the universe, right? But no, everyone everyone just freaks out. No, you can't do that. No, this is a bad idea. The cleric in the party cast augury to have their god tell them, will this bring weal or woe? It is. So yeah, I had a perfectly reasonable idea given who my character was, the knowledge my character would have, and the situation we were in for maximum benefit, and was denied. So the one thing, after everything you can have sex with in LOTFP, the one thing apparently you're not allowed to have sex with in an LOTFP game is the universe. What kind of bullshit is that? I'm just fucking hell. Oh god, my feet are all still screwed up, and this is making me pace. This is how stressed out I am. So I gotta say, as a referee, Jeff, that was a bullshit call, and it's just like someone should take your LOTFP books away from you. Bah!